Thank you everyone for joining this session in the ongoing TCI webinar series. Today I'll be talking about best practices on adapting cloud native for your existing BusinessWorks integration workloads. A confidentiality slide, as some of the information I'd be sharing can be forward-looking. A brief introduction on TIBCO Cloud Integration. TIBCO Cloud Integration provides a wholesome integration experience which helps you to tackle any integration challenges that you may face in your organization. It offers a collaborative user experience for several integration user personas tailored to their needs. Today, I'll be focusing on integrate capability that focuses in detail on integration specialist and enterprise IT. With TCI, you can virtually connect to any endpoint within different capabilities of TCI. TIBCO Cloud Integration is built with open source software and also provides integration, independence, and flexibility. Coming towards the topic of the day, integrate capability of TCI, which is powered by TIBCO BusinessWorks. Integrate capability focuses on enterprise integration specialists. It empowers them to design API-led integration application to run on hybrid and multi-cloud mission-critical deployments. With the launch of TCI Integrate, our key focus has been on three major areas: build API-led integration microservices with fastest time to results, which helps you to be more agile and fast with your development and deployment cycle. Visually integrate APIs with 0 lines of code. With TIBCO Business Studio for BusinessWorks, you have the ability to design your application by simply dragging and dropping a vast range of palettes and plugins which are provided out of the box with Business Studio. Run, manage, and scale application on TIBCO Cloud or any major container platforms. With TCI, we provide you the user interface to run, manage, and scale your BW apps. Along with that, we have certified with most commonly used container platforms such as Docker, Kubernetes, AWS, Azure, or OpenShift. One of the key feature of TCI Integrate is build once, deploy anywhere. It helps you to deploy your BW application from one deployment target to another. You can also use out-of-the-box provided migration utility to refactor your BW5 application for agile and scalable cloud deployments. You can easily migrate your BW5 application in BusinessWorks Studio and then choose to deploy it on your choice of deployment platform, be it on-premise, TIBCO Cloud, or any other container deployment platforms. You also have the ability to automate the entire deployment process, leveraging Maven plugin and other DevOps tooling with your CI/CD pipeline. With this slide, I would like to cover a few pointers why TCI is the best step forward for you to move towards microservice architecture from BW5. Transition to agile, distributed, and scalable integration infrastructure. It helps you to break down your large BW5 complex projects into newer, smaller microservices for efficient deployments. Along with that, you can also leverage container infrastructure optimization with ability to scale on demand. Improve developer productivity and accelerate deployments by adopting DevOps. With Business Studio, developer experience has been enhanced drastically with features such as process dev or out-of-the-box support for tooling such as config management and distributed tracing. With integration to your CI/CD pipeline, it reduces the risks and complexity around upgrades and changes. A better ROI leveraging existing BW5 investments. It is much easier to refactor your existing BW5 application instead of rewriting them from scratch to build the applications. Now, let me take you to a brief demo on how you can seamlessly migrate your BW5 application, refactor it, and deploy it on TCI. This is the design time interface for TCI, which is known as TIBCO Business Studio for BusinessWorks. I will use the inbuilt migration utility, which, as you can see, comes with various different custom fields which you can use, such as migrating multiple BusinessWorks 5 projects, selective processes for migration if you want to only migrate a few processes from a project, which again helps to break large complex projects. We also provide an ability to migrate your custom Java code. With BW5, there was a concept called DTLs, design time libraries, whereas with TCI, we have the same concept as shared modules. With no additional steps, your existing DTLs can be migrated to TCI and be converted to shared modules. We also provide you an option to upgrade your existing XPath transitions in your project from 1.0 version to 2.0. Now let me quickly migrate this project. This dialog box over here shows you the process of migration of the project that you are migrating at the moment. Once the migration gets completed, it also generates a migration statistics report under the project. You can use this report to analyze how many processes, shared resources, visitors, or schemas have been migrated along with the time taken. As I was mentioning about one of the key features, which is build once, deploy anywhere, let me refactor this application by thinking that I'll be deploying the same application on TIBCO Cloud as well as on my local hosted Docker platform. I can simply configure the deployment target by choosing both container and TIBCO Cloud as the expected deployment targets. After changing the deployment targets, I recommend you to check the problems tab, which shows you any validation issues, if there are any, before you deploy to your preferred deployment target. As you can see, it says localhost should not be set as host value for cloud platform. For TIBCO Cloud, you have to set the HTTP connector shared resource as module property, BW host. Let me make this change and save it to get rid our project error-free. Now let me quickly explain a brief about my project. This is a SOAP service where I have hard-coded zip code of 2 cities in my bindings to know the information about those cities as well as calculate the distance between both the cities. I have all my bindings under the services folder as well as processes under processes folder. Before I go ahead and deploy it to TIBCO Cloud, I would like to take some time to highlight few new features. One among them is dependency analyzer. With dependency visualizer, you can explore the dependencies of a specific process. As you can see, there is a tree layout structure highlighting my process is depending upon which sub-processes or which visitors. I can change the layout from here. There are few layouts available, and I can also use the filter resources if I only want to see the sub-processes my process is dependent on, or if I only want to see visitors. Another extension of dependency analyzer is manage unused resources. When we design a large complex project, we design many resources that at a later stage is not being used in our application. Such resources can be listed under the unused resources tab. You can have a look at all the unused resources and you can choose to exclude or delete them before generating EAR to reduce the file of EAR. Another important feature that we have recently introduced is process diff, which helps you to highlight any changes between 2 revisions of your processes. Let me quickly make a change to this process. Let me add an activity to show the change. Add a mapper activity and let me make change to the timer activity as well. Let me save it. Now I can compare the 2 revisions of this process by using. Currently, I am comparing local history, but we also have integration with Git and SVN. It provides me a visual graph of comparing the 2 revisions of my process. As you can see, it highlights the timer activity with the red icon, highlighting that there has been a change in properties, highlighting the property which has been changed in the blue color on the bottom half of the screen, and a blue plus icon on the mapper activity signifying that this has been added. You can also use the toggle button on the right hand top corner to navigate to previous and next differences among the projects. Along with viewing in process diagram, you can also compare two revisions via text. Now let me quickly go and show you how I can generate the EAR. To generate EAR, I simply have to right click on application and create EAR. In order to save time, I have EAR created already with me. Let me take you to the TCI UI. This is the TIBCO Cloud UI where all the application which you have deployed, irrespective of their capability, be it integrate, develop, or connect, will be listed here. To deploy a new application, I will click on Create Import button, will select the respective capability. I can either browse to upload my ER file, or I can use the drag and drop functionality, which helps me to easily deploy my application. Till my application gets deployed, I would also like to talk about a new feature in Business Studio, which is integration with config management and credential management software, which you can use to fetch values of module properties and secrets. As you can see, the application has been deployed in stop state, so you can make any last minute changes such as renaming the app. Let me give a name to this app, or making any changes to the environment variables. After making any such changes, you can simply scale the app to desired number of instances as you want. I already have an instance of this application running. Let me take you to that one. Under apps view, the first tab you have is processes, which lists the process diagram of all the processes of your project, along with showing the SOAP service bindings as well. Under endpoints tab, it lists all the public or private endpoints of your application. If it is a REST API, you can use the inbuilt tester to execute the endpoints within PCI. As it is SOAP UI, let me copy the endpoint and execute my endpoint in the SOAP UI. Let me quickly change the endpoint over here and execute it. As you can see, it shows the distance between the two cities of which zip code has been hard coded. Going back to TCI, next tab is monitoring. Under monitoring, you can monitor the application based on instance level basis. If you have more instances running, you can monitor based on the process or service bindings. It gives you the exact data of process and activity instance level on how many activities has completed the transaction or has been faulted. Under resource metrics tab, you can view the CPU and memory stats of this specific application container. And under executions tab, you can view a graph view of how many executions has been completed successfully or has been failed. Environment controls tab helps you to define any or all environment variables that you require at the time of deploying your application, such as setting a threshold value for CPU or memory alert, if crossing which it will give you a warning message under logs. You can also define a custom environment variable using the plus variable sign. After making any changes, you can simply click on push updates. With VPN connection and hybrid connectivity tab, you can use these features to connect to your local services such as JDBC or JMS running on your local machine with your BW application deployed on PCI. With logs tab, we show logs in two formats. One is tabular, one is raw, with the time range filters ranging from 5 minutes to any custom. You can also filter logs from the log level, such as error, warning, info, or debug. History tab shows the audit events of your application, such as scaling of app, renaming of app with the username and timestamp. Coming back to the apps page, we also have another feature on the apps page with this tiny drop-down button. We call it as App Peek View, which gives you a quick glance of the status of your app, showing you the job row executions in the last 24 hours and average CPU and memory stats on the basis of average of all instances. This was it on the TCI part. Let me quickly go back to my presentation. I highly recommend you to try out TIBCO Cloud on cloud.tibco.com. You can also get more information on our website and community. And make sure to be here for our next session in this series. The most important part about integration is connectivity from our connectivity expert, Aditi Priya. Thank you.